Hi, I'm Simon Hill, and you're watching Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV.
Hi, I'm Daniel Mullen, former Adelaide United player and Asian Champions League winner with Western Sydney Wanderers. When it comes to any of my soccer needs, I do my shopping here at Soccer Locker. An Australian-owned and operated business, the store is located at Shop 5 of 181 to 183 Grange Road, Findon. Founded in 2017, Soccer Locker was introduced into the market to fulfil all the soccer-related needs of Australians, providing a huge range of quality clothing and equipment ranging from soccer balls, team kits, goalkeeper gear, accessories and much more. Recently arrived stock also includes stunning retro kits from some of our favourite past eras as fans of the world game. Soccer Locker is a specialist in premier range boots, Adidas and Puma, goalkeeper gear and licensed merchandise. Visit us online at www.soccerlocker.com.au with free delivery Australia-wide. So get shopping now at our Findon store, open from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. from Monday to Friday and open Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
G'day guys and welcome to the Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV. I'm your host Ellis Gelios, coming to you today with a preview of the game against Sydney FC on Saturday night, and I'm joined by one of the most prevalent A-League media personalities going around. He's the current host of the excellent ABC Football Grandstand podcast, and go and subscribe to that ASAP if you haven't. Daniel Garb is the man I speak of course. It's his second appearance on the show. Garby, great to have you back. How you going?
Good, mate. Great to be with you again. Always enjoyable having a chat with you. Obviously an ardent Reds fan, but a big West Coast Eagles fan as well, so I enjoy that. But, yeah, exciting times, mate. So good to be on board with you.
It's great to have you. And just speaking of the Eagles, you did commentate the West Coast GWS game. Unfortunately, it was a loss for the Eagles, but you're getting up to a fair bit these days, Garby. Not just the podcast, of course, dipping your toes in plenty of things on the media scene. So just tell us how you've been.
Going well, mate. Yeah, ABC's been good to me, so I'm enjoying the work I'm doing with them, and commentating AFL as well is something I love. So I've grown up with footy and soccer my whole life, really, and along with numerous other sports that I love. But yeah, to be involved with both of them right now is great. So commentating AFL is a different thing that happened pretty quickly, but I'm loving it. It seems to be going okay, so I'm pretty happy with that, but also enjoying the football podcast and all the work I'm doing around the A-League, reporting on games for the News Corp papers and so on. So, yeah, busy, but wouldn't have it any other way. It's good fun at the moment.
The freelance life, it can be plenty of fun at the best of times. Garby, speaking of reporting things, you were doing plenty of it yesterday, lending your thoughts on the new TV deal which has been announced for the A-League. It's a landmark deal that will be with Paramount Plus and obviously Channel 10. Estimated at being at around $32 million a year. 5 years, it's a free-to-air TV game that will be guaranteed on Channel 10's main station every Saturday night too. I think everyone is excited and feeling very refreshed at this. So just go into a bit of detail as to why you think it's such an amazing deal for us to be getting in this unstable market that we're in at the moment.
Yeah. It's a good deal. I'm not sure it's quite an amazing deal yet because there's the unknown of the Paramount side of things. So let's wait to see what happens on that. But breaking it down, it's definitely a good deal. Firstly, financially. So the money attached to it over 5 years, I mean, that provides security. Let's not forget where we were a year ago. When COVID hit, we were really unsure about the future of the deal. Fox was lacking interest in football. Who were the other networks that were going to come in and put up big money? It didn't seem like there was too much interest. Now, we were worried potentially about the league folding into a situation that had us all pretty scared. So to have this result a year on, $200 million guaranteed for the league, around $25-30 million a year when you take into account contras. Financially, it's good, and it's probably overs based on the ratings and the interest in the game at the moment. So I think that's a really good result, and it can only grow in that sense. The other positive, of course, is the unprecedented free-to-air component. So Channel 10, we've never had a major network invest in the game like this and commit to a game a week on its main channel for the entirety of the season. That's fantastic. And then there will be finals, of course, on the top of that. So that's unprecedented and something to really get us enthused about. And the unknown, of course, is the Paramount side of things. So it's a new streaming service that not many people are connected to right now. How many people will watch the other games that aren't on Channel 10? That's a bit of a worry, of course, and that's something we need to own, I think, and realize that it's a tricky one, but hopefully they'll push it really hard and people will jump on board, and it will still get enough, viewers and exposure in that sense. But all in all, it's really good, and I think we should be excited about where it's going to be. Then there's the Socceroos and the Matildas, of course, on the side of that, and that's a worry where they're going to land up. Hopefully they land up on the same platform, but it's more revenue coming through for the game as well, which is great. So all in all, encouraging, but a bit of an unknown there with the Paramount side of things, as opposed to Fox, where a lot of people have Kayo or Fox and just can flick on and bypass an A-League game if there's nothing else on, and watch for a half or a game of football, which will be different this time around. So hopefully they push that and market it really well so enough people are jumping on board.
Terrific insights. If you go back in time to around 2014, there was a projected deal that they wanted based on how well they thought it was going at the time, that they wanted their next TV deal to be around 80 million. This is back when it was with Fox Sports. Now, you're at the center of the English Premier League coverage, and a lot of people often sort of resurface that as one of the reasons why ratings and metrics started to fall, because the English Premier League was lost. Do you think that Paramount may need to get a Champions League or Premier League rights sometime in the future, just to complement the offerings that they've got at the moment, and to get us back into that kind of mode that we were in several years ago?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's a great point, one that I don't think a lot of people have thought of. So, the Champions League rights are up for grabs. Reportedly, Stan want them, and they'll probably be more energized to try and get them now, knowing that Paramount is probably going to try and marry up a football connection in that sense. So, that's going to be interesting. But then hopefully the Socceroos and the Matildas, Socceroos are a big business. Same with the Matildas. You put them on that platform, even though they'd probably go on Channel 10, those games. Then you start to get a bit more interest in that sense. Things like the Asian Champions League to go with it. That helps more subscribers get on board and creates more reason to subscribe for $9 a month or whatever it is. I mean, they've got to find something else to marry up with it. The same as Stan are trying to do with rugby. They're like, rugby's been good for them, but they can't rely on just one sport. They need something else to supplement their sports contribution, if you like, and their sports platform. So they're trying to find something else to go with it. Optus has got the Premier League. That's massive. People will subscribe for that. But other sports, you need 2 or 3 options on the menu, if you like, for people to commit to going to that restaurant. So that's kind of how it's how it works, I guess, and hopefully they will in that sense. I just want to say as well, Fox Sports deserve a lot of credit. So I think a lot of people are excited about the future, and they've spent 2-3 years bagging Fox Sports, and maybe that's okay for the interest waning from Fox in recent times and the lack of promotion they've put in the game. But the last 15 years they've been unbelievable. I mean, the amount of money they've put through to support the game rights wise, but then from a production value point of view, and the amount of emphasis they've put on Australian football over the last 15, 16 years, every single major moment outside of a World Cup has been shown on Fox Sports, and they've turned it into a world-class production as well. And I was lucky enough to be a part of it for 9 years, and I saw how much work went into it and how much money went into it. And I thought it was great. And, we wouldn't be where we are right now without the money that Fox put in, especially when the game was on its knees in 2005, and they were happy to bankroll the entire league. And I grew up in a time when you couldn't watch any games. You had one game a week on Australian TV. And then all of a sudden, the new A-League starts, and every game's live and in HD, or not HD then, but live and in beautiful stadiums with great production values, nice graphics. It changed just like that. And they deserve, I think, the plaudits from people now as well.
I think you're absolutely right, Garby. And I think one thing that the general fan sort of misses is the actual difficulty surrounding what it takes to produce the league. A lot of people look at Optus and how the Premier League's been covered and say, oh, how good is that? Why can't Fox be that good? It's Optus don't produce the Premier League. Fox Sports produce the A-League. So I think you're absolutely right there. And I just want to say, I'm sure having seen you be on this ride that Fox Sports have been on with the A-League, that when the lens closes for the last time after the grand final this season, you'll probably shed a tear along with the rest of the team there at Fox Sports. Yeah, I mean, look, I left Fox. I'm not overly emotional about it leaving Fox, but they just deserve recognition. For the money they've put in and the amount of work that's gone on behind the scenes by good people, many of whom are my friends. Plenty have left in the last few years along with me, but
they deserve credit for the work they put in to put football in this position. And, some good people will lose their jobs as a result of them losing the rights, and people should have sympathy. So, yeah, people have been lining up to smash Fox in the last 2 years. I hope they pay their credit now as well, because, the W League and the A-League wouldn't be in the position it's in without the money that Fox have put in and the work of plenty of good people as well.
Excellent stuff, Garby. Let's talk about the football. It is Adelaide United versus Sydney FC this Saturday night, 6:40 p.m. kickoff at Cooper Stadium. Catch it on Fox Sports and Kayo Sports if you aren't planning on attending. We've got no squads at the time of filming. Firstly, Garby, I want to ask you a simple question. How much should Adelaide United be fearing Sydney FC going into this game? Sydney have won their last 3 matches, but I think we can safely summarise they just haven't quite been the same this season.
Yeah, they've been good in the last few weeks, and they're starting to work nicely towards the finals. They've got a good attack, good midfield. Luke Braddon's in great form. Obviously, Lafondra and Bobo's an excellent attack with Barbarouses. Defensively, they're going to have some issues come finals. So I think those players are going to be pretty keen to ensure they're in a strong position before they go to the Socceroos, probably after this weekend. McGowan, Grant, Andrew Redmayne. And then things could open up for other teams, because Sydney will lose their defence and Melbourne City will lose quality players. But we'll get onto that in a moment. I think Adelaide are a show. I think Adelaide's got 4 clean sheets in their last 6 games. So defensively, they're starting to look really solid. And then in Craig Goodwin, they've got a special player, someone who's very unique and can open up defences, score you a goal out of nothing or create something out of nothing. And Adelaide are moving nicely. I think Adelaide are a serious smoky for the championship when you consider Melbourne City's players that will be leaving and Sydney's defence that will be decimated. The Reds are a serious shout. So I don't think they'll fear Sydney at all on Saturday night. I think Sydney can win, of course, because they can even up the game, and then they've probably got a slightly better attack. But if Adelaide finds a way to close them out and has got their shape together defensively like they have done in the last month or so, they've got the quality to score the deciding goal too. So I think it's a pretty even game on paper, an exciting one.
Plenty for both sets of fans to be excited about. The 1-0 win for Adelaide United against Melbourne Victory last Sunday night. It was just the second time ever in our club's history where we've gotten the hat-trick of regular season wins over the Victory, the last time being all the way back in that first A-League season. Now, the pressure was definitely on us going into this game, Garby, with everyone else in the final 6 race winning their games on that weekend. So plenty of character was shown by Adelaide United.
Yeah, and look, the Victory have been playing okay in recent times. Like, they lack a lot of quality. They lack a bit of belief. They haven't got much to play for, but they've actually been going okay over the past month since Grant Brebner left. So they're not an easy beat by any stretch at the moment, but Adelaide should defeat them, and they did. So similar kind of story. Held out defensively, held things together at the back. Rudy Justed's always a threat. Didn't give him too many looks at goal, and then managed to find their key moments the other way. And I think that's the way Adelaide are going at the moment. They're just finding that crucial goal in games and are holding out at the back. So that could be a great recipe come finals. You just need to stay in games and hope that you've got the little bit of magic to win it. And I think Adelaide could have that in a Craig Goodwin. Tommy Juric, when he comes back from injury, he's had a good season goals-wise, maybe a better season than people give him credit for. You've got Cassini Yengi. You've got Benny Halloran, who can come up with something. Stefan Mork, we know, has scored a lot of goals this season. Cavallo's playing well in midfield. It's a good team, and there's a bit of depth there as well. So I think the Melbourne win was just a recipe in terms of what Adelaide have been doing in the last 4 to 6 weeks. And if they can keep that going, then they'll fancy themselves come finals.
Yes, I definitely agree. I want to ask you, so Tommy Juric is out for an indefinite period. Cassini Yengi, the young striker, now looks to be joining him on the sidelines for what could be until next season. Carl Viet made the ballsy decision to leave the Toure brothers out of his squad for the Melbourne Victory match, citing that Alhassan Toure in particular needed to start scoring goals again. It has felt like a lifetime since that 2019 FFA Cup final and the form he was in back then. So Alhassan went on to score a hat-trick in the NPL last weekend, made Carl Viet look like he managed things very, very well. So surely I want to ask you, Garby, is this now the calling for Alhassan Toure to return to the limelight for Adelaide?
Play them both together. Wouldn't that be something? They'd probably love it, wouldn't they? If you chucked him in a game together and said, just, have some fun, lads, if you're playing in the backyard, they'd probably relish it. So, yeah, I mean, there's great options there. Look, they've been a bit inconsistent, but we know how good they can be. Alhassan's done it in an FFA Cup final. Mo Toure's done it in big games. Yeah, thankfully there are options there, and hopefully Tommy Juric can come back for finals. and can get things back. But yeah, that's obviously a concern. But so that would make a big difference to Adelaide to have him as the key point of the attack and then things to operate around him. But if not, you know, the Toure brothers give you a fair bit of quality as well. And then you've got guys like Goodwin and Mork and Halloran who still have goal-scoring ability in behind. So you just need someone to do the job up front and stretch defences and create a bit of a focal point.
A regular co-host, Robbie Cornthwaite, a club legend of ours, of course. You know, you're sitting in with him every week, recording your podcast. You'd speak to him a lot off the air. How highly does he rate the Toures?
Yeah, he rates them very highly. I think he's also just a bit concerned about their inconsistency, and he's been debating all season who the best person to lead the attack is, and he started to go with Kusuni Yengi, so that was his pick, but now things change again. So he loves them, like everyone else does, but you know, he's acknowledged that they didn't deserve to start necessarily in recent times, and that Calvier got it right, so there was no criticism from him of that decision. I think he feels as though Carla's managed to strike as well amid a difficult situation where form and injury have constantly wavered at the Reds, and so it's created a few headaches for Carl, but at least he's got options to work with.
Yes, definitely. And just moving forward, Garby, talking about Sydney and speaking of strikers, Adam Lafondra, how good is it from a neutral perspective to see him back in the A-League with Sydney FC? Yeah,
I think it's excellent. I mean, both him and Bobo. I mean, I think Bobo, particularly when they brought him back, I think a lot of people went, geez, he's a couple of years older now. You know, we know who he is. It's just the signing that we need in the A-League. He scored 10 goals, so you can't criticise that at all. And Lafondra coming back 6 months after what he did, I mean, that was just a no-brainer if you can get him back for the right price. So, yeah, he's a goal scorer. And most importantly, he loves the club, loves winning, loves playing in the A-League. I think we love that from our foreigners. Even if you're an opposition fan, you respect it. And you recognise a guy who, you know, has done a lot over in Europe and how much actual passion he has for our country and for our league and for the club that he plays for here. You say, fair play, come back and try and win it again. From an opposition fan point of view, hopefully we can stop you, but it's not going to be easy to stop because he's, you know, similar to a Matt Derbyshire. He just needs one moment in a game and he'll bury it, whether it's from the penalty spot or otherwise. So you just can't afford to give them chances. And McLaren provided that for City, but he'll be gone for the finals now. So it might open up for Sydney if they can keep things together defensively, for MacArthur potentially if they can stay in the race, and obviously Adelaide, as I mentioned, and you wouldn't rule out Central Coast either, or a Brisbane Roar.
Yes, and there's plenty to anticipate in that regard. Sticking on Sydney, though, they might be assessing their path to the finals by saying, draw in Adelaide, and then we just make sure we beat Brisbane on the final day, and second is ours. Could this potentially play into the hands of the home side at all if they potentially set themselves up quite defensively and sit back, Sydney FC, that is?
Yeah, no, it could. It could definitely help Adelaide in that regard. I'd always be wary of Sydney on the break because they've got a lot of good goal-scoring options. And Costa Barbarouses, for example, loves playing a counter-attacking style. And he'll actually, I think he's going to really enjoy, and he has done, having Bobo and Lafondra back there. Because I don't think a central striker is his role. I don't think it suits him. I think he's far better as a wide player or playing a little bit deeper or as a free roll as a second striker. Playing as the main man, I just don't think it's his natural position. So I think he'll enjoy it a lot more. And then he's that kind of player with his speed who can burst on the counter-attack and try and hit you the other way. So you have to be wary of that. But sure, if they sit back too deep, inviting someone like Craig Goodwin onto you can cause trouble. So Craig Goodwin on form should be in the Socceroos squad, but I think his wife may be pregnant.
Correct.
And expecting so that's probably the reason why he's been left out, just a complication with that, and just let him get through that. And then we'll see where we are when this phase of qualifiers ends. But he's not only should he be in the squad, I mean, Craig Goodwin's, you know, a possible to start for the Socceroos. Like when he's on, he's a really good player. And he's a unique player. We don't have many true left-footed wingers. So I think he's just going to be so valuable for the Reds come finals, and that'll be the main threat for Sydney.
Yeah, I think every Adelaide United fan is pretty well obliged to send in a voucher for the Goodwin wife baby shower, given how things have gone. Garby, I think actually as well, I just wanted to highlight, I'm pretty certain on your last podcast, you and Robbie Cornthwaite are the first ones in the mainstream media to actually acknowledge how ideal it is for Adelaide United going into this final series with all these star players in the A-League being absent on Socceroos duty. So bearing that in mind, I want to ask you, how highly do you rate Adelaide United's chances of winning the A-League?
Yeah, so as I said before, I think they're a good chance. I think they're a smoky. I don't think Melbourne City can win it without McLaren, right? I think it's too hard. You'd lose a player who has contributed that much. I don't know how you replace it. It would be an unbelievable effort if they can win the championship without him. Never mind Curtis Good and Connor Metcalf as well. Sydney, I think, can still win it because of their attack in their midfield, but their defence has been decimated. Redmayne, Grant, McGowan. Can they still get by without those three? Maybe. But another injury or a suspension, someone drops in form a little bit, a change of keepers, that just creates a bit of uncertainty at the back. That's a big question mark too. And then you could throw a blanket over Central Coast, Adelaide, Macarthur, Brisbane. Wellington are in really good form. I wouldn't discount them at all. If they can sneak into the finals, look out, because they'll have bumper crowds in New Zealand, and they've got serious momentum now, and a true goal scorer as well in Tom Mohamed is playing superbly at the minute. So they're all a chance, but I just think Adelaide have been the most consistent all season long. And in Mork, Goodwin, Halloran, they've got really experienced players who know what big games are all about, and they've done it together now for a few seasons, even though Goodwin went away, of course. So, yeah, if I had to pick one out of that bunch, removing the two favourites, Sydney and Melbourne City, I'm going with Adelaide.
There you go, folks. It's that time where I've got to ask you for your prediction, Garby. So who comes out on top in this one?
I'll go the draw. Yeah, I think Sydney will set themselves defensively for a big performance because it'll be the last game for those players before they go away on Socceroos duty. I think maybe they leave this weekend. I might have that wrong, but I think they get one more game in. So if they don't get one more game in, I'm going Adelaide, and I apologise for not knowing this definitely. But if they get one more game in before they go, then I'm going the draw because I think they might hold out defensively, and I think Adelaide at home are feeling pretty confident right now. So they've given you both options, and that doesn't leave anything for an Adelaide win. But what does if all those Sydney players are gone? So the Sydney players go, Adelaide wins. If not, I think a draw.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's been great having you on, Garby. I just want to quickly ask you, the 6:30 time slot on Saturday night, is that your leisurely time, or will you be covering another game? Will you be watching this one?
Yeah, no, I won't be. I think I'm covering the Newcastle-Melbourne City game earlier, so that'll finish, and then I'll watch that one, and then the Eagles start at 7:40, so I'll cross over between the two. So it'll be a busy Saturday night watching both. So looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm keen to watch Adelaide now because I've been a bit bullish on them and their and their chances of winning the final series. So yeah, I'm sort of invested in them if you know what I mean. So I'll be watching them closely in that regard, and yeah, have the footy on too when the Eagles start, probably around the time that the A-League starts to finish. So it'll be a beautiful Saturday night, mate. Wouldn't have it any other way. Beautiful
stuff. Daniel Garb, the ABC Football Grandstand podcast. It's been an amazing addition to the media landscape when it comes to all A-League content this season. I want to ask you, it's really become the flagship podcast for the A-League. What does the future look like for this podcast that you so eloquently host with Robbie Cornthwaite every week?
Thank you very much, mate. I don't know. We'll keep going till the end of the season. ABC won't have the TV rights anymore. Will that change things from their point of view? Honestly, do not know. It's still the national broadcaster, so they may still want a football podcast. In that sense, be more than happy, Robbie and I, to keep it going. We really enjoy it. But I couldn't tell you. I'm sure the people that make those decisions don't know either at this stage. So I'll probably wait for the season to end, and then they'll look at things and decide whether to push forward or not now that they don't have the rights. But hopefully they do, because we love doing it. So let's hope it continues.
Well, Daniel Garb, I'm sure everyone will be eagerly anticipating what your next move is in a permanent football role, covering the game in some way. I'm sure you'll be around, but whatever it is, we wish you all the very best of luck going forward with everything. And thank you so much for joining us again here on Purebred Reds. Make sure, guys, that you check into ABC Grandstand Football Podcast. Can find it wherever you get your podcasts from. Garby, it's been great speaking to you again. You take care of yourself and enjoy the football.
Thanks, great man. Always like coming on the show, and you do a great job. And good luck for your Reds on the weekend.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for watching.